Hey, it's your friend Choice CJ here, and this is going to be my Week 3 Team Builder in Battle for the MPL Season number 7. We're going up against Fizzle, who is subbing in for Blue Rogue and his AFC Wormadam. Blue Rogue had to go AFK for some time for a personal matter. So we're all thinking of Blue Rogue and hoping everything is for the best with him. Fizzle's been stepping in and playing his game in the meantime, so big thanks to Fizzle, shoutouts to him for helping out in the meantime. We are playing on Showdown. We had a DC in the match, and it was a little bit, like, it wasn't that far into the match, but it was just a little bit annoying to try and recreate the exact circumstances, so we got permission to go ahead and just move to Showdown, so that's why you're seeing the Showdown screen here. I do quickly want to go do a team breakdown for you guys, so I've got the team builder up here. The Wormadam have on their roster Halucha, Blacephalon, Tapu Lele, Excadrill, Rotom Mo, Suicune, Garbodor, Mega T-Tar, Cofagrigus, and Shelmet. So it is a team that features Lele, but also has Sand plus Excadrill. So it's a pretty tricky matchup. So when I built this team, I knew that Lele was a mon that was available to be drafted. So I took Muck, hoping that I could use that to beat Tapu Lele, but the problem is that Muck kind of sucks versus the rest of the team, because like it's just Driller basically by itself is enough to mess up Muck's day. And then there's also like T-Tar. Like T-Tar doesn't really care about anything that Muck wants to do. There's other annoying mons like Coon, like can burn it. I don't really have a good way to hit Coon for a lot of damage. It's kind of useful versus other stuff like Blacephalon, and to a lesser extent Rotom. Rotom is kind of tricky because he can just Volt Switch on my Muck switch in and just go straight into Driller. Like Cofag, it hits super effectively, but Cofag has Wisp. So it's just all around like a pretty bad matchup for Muck. And so because of that, I've got a team that's very vulnerable to Lele. Like it's tough, right? So I'm not gonna know how what to use on my team to beat Lele until I see what set it is. If it's Specs, well then I've got 4 mons that can revenge kill it, being Nape, Coco, Sceptile, and Raichu, especially if it's got Chip. Sceptile and Raichu probably don't beat it without Chip. If it's Scarf, then that's a little bit trickier to deal with. Like, it doesn't do quite as much damage, but like, where are my Psychic resists? And like, even that, like, I don't have like a good, Fairy resist on my team anyway. So like, both Psychic and Moonblast are totally free. But if I could just get some Chip on it, again, just revenge it with like Sceptile and Raichu, and I could potentially take 1 hit on like Blastoise and Coco if I really need it to. Because like Coco, it's nice, it resets the terrain, so it doesn't get the Psychic boost anymore. Blastoise is just kind of fat in general, so I basically have to play an HO game versus Fizzle, because I just don't switch into anything. I can't afford to give free turns to things like Drill or Halucha. So that's kind of how I built the team, and I have a couple, I think, pretty good late game win cons if I need. It's not pure HO. Like, I do have this Gliscor set, which is pretty good against anything not named Suicune. Roost Toxic, Rocks EQ. This is absolutely my designated check to beat Driller. Driller without SD can't beat this set pretty much no matter what. And this also deals pretty well with the likes of T-Tar, with Cofag, etc. So that's pretty nice. Yeah, just max defense. I put a little bit of speed on here in case he tries to creep with like Coon or something like that. I can see that. Coon I don't think is a very likely bring. It's a great Nape check, but it just, I have double electric plus Sceptile, so I don't think I think it's a liability in the matchup. Plus it can't run like Crocoon because I have E-Terrain canceling out the ability to go for rest. So like maybe he brings like a Toxic set or something like that, but I think he's just more likely to leave it on the bench. I have a pretty bulky Blastoise with some special attack investment and a very weird EV spread overall. So I have Aqua Jet on here. Aqua Jet is just nice insurance for things like Blacephalon, as well as Excadrill. So like, depending upon the range of HP that they're at, I could throw off an Aqua Jet and do like 40% to Driller and like 60% to Blacephalon. So it's pretty nice. I didn't want to be outsped by Garbodor though, so like I put some speed investment even though I had a negative speed nature. Like, I didn't want to put negative Spadef nature because I want to be able to take a hit from Blessephalon or Lele if I have to. And I didn't want to go minus attack nature so that my Aqua Jet wasn't neutered. So, like, if I go negative speed nature, I take the least amount of a penalty to my speed, or like to my speed stat because it's the lowest base stat. So hopefully that makes sense. So I ended up putting some investment in there. But yeah, he doesn't have good water switch-ins besides Coon and Rotom. So like Blastoise is just very scary in general. I almost brought like a Trick Room team to support Mega Blastoise, like just going for really powerful Hydro Pumps. But I ended up not doing that just because I felt like I wanted the other members of the team a little bit more. But yeah, hopefully I can use this Mon to wear down his team, pressure mainly Rotom. Like, again, I don't really expect Coon to come. So hopefully I can just pressure Rotom. I have a Choice Banded Infernape. Banded Infernape is just nice for the Banded Mach Punch. It allows me to Revenge Kill Excadrill and T-Tar pretty comfortably. I guess T-Tar to a lesser extent, but like it depends on the range of HP that it's at. Like, even though it's quad weak, T-Tar is obviously just so fat, like it's going to be hard to kill with one hit of anything. But yeah, it's basically just insurance for that. I do have to be very wary, of course, of Psychic Terrain, canceling out my ability to go for Mach Punch. But unless he's like Terrain Extender Lele, there's not going to be like a likely situation where he has Driller in with the Psychic Terrain up and Sand up for like multiple turns. Maybe he has like one turn of Sand left over with Psychic Terrain, so I could just sack something else off and then go into Nape. We have Thunder Punch to hit Coon. It's also boosted by Iron Fist, and it's also boosted by Electric Terrain if I happen to have Electric Terrain up. So I like that combo, and then U-Turn is there obviously for momentum. I have a pretty simple Coco set. Well-charged U-Turn Taunt Roost. Taunt Roost is just in case he decides to bring stupid stuff like Shelmet. It can't set up hazards versus me or recover stall versus me. It's also decent versus Kofag and just some other stuff as well. Wild Charge just hits pretty much anything on the team that's not named Excadrill. If he wants to bring like a Spadef Rotom or something like that, we bop that with a pretty powerful U-Turn. Z Wild Charge is really good for taking out T-Tar. It does like 70 to 80% depending upon the type of spread that he is. So that's pretty nice. Yeah, I just don't really have a way to hit Driller, but if Sand's not up, I can just U-Turn, and that's pretty nice. I'd have to be very careful with this thing because if I do get a kill with it while Sand is up, and it's not like a U-Turn where I can bring the Coco back out, it puts me in a pretty bad position because basically then he gets to go into Drill and basically get a free kill. Especially if my Gliscor he has even a little bit of damage, because he can go into Drill, like I can't do anything to him, he can SD for free, and like a +2 Adamant Life Orb, Iron Head does like 85-ish or so to Gliscor, so I just have to not allow that situation to occur, and then it should be fine. So now the two win cons. First up, we got Electric Seed Sceptile with Workup and a mixed attacking set. So Leaf Storm, Acrobatics, EQ is what we're going with. This doesn't hit Rotom super hard, but Rotom also can't hit me super hard without like HP Ice. And I don't think he can afford to run like much attack investment. He really is going to want like Max Spadef or like something like that. So if we're at +1, Acrobatics should like do like 40% min or so. So it's got a decent shot to 2 a KO if he's at full. And like I'm saying, like I don't think he can kill me in one hit. Besides that, like at +1, I really take care of a lot of his team. Depending upon prior chip. Like Leaf Storm does like over 70% to T-Tar, over 70% to Kofag, EQ kills Excadrill, Acrobatics kills Halicha, and things like that. So hopefully I can get this into a late game situation and sweep with it. I think it can be pretty good. I'm running negative defense nature, even though I have the E-Seed, because like I was explaining, like Sceptile can kind of take a hit from Rotom, so I don't want to lower my Spadef because of that. And I figure like the negative defense nature here is going to be somewhat mitigated by my defense boost from the Electric Seed. So kind of the best reasoning I could come up with. And then I have a Life Orb Surge Surfer Raichu. Pretty standard looking moveset, dual stabs, Focus Blast to hit T-Tar and Excadrill. And then Volt Switch in the last slot, kind of just as filler, because I wasn't sure what else I wanted to put there. I could have put like Nasty Plot or Charge Beam or things like that, but I realistically am never going to be clicking those because Charge Beam is just too weak. Nasty Plot, like I'm never going to get a turn to click Nasty Plot because Raichu just isn't that bulky. Like, yes, he could switch out versus Raichu, and I could take advantage of that, but I don't think he's ever going to be switching out versus a Raichu. He's just going to want to attack it. Enough speed on here for Adamant Halicha. We have some HP in here just to give us a life orb number. We take 13 HP from life orb here, which is like the minimum amount we can take with this EV spread. So not much more to say about that. Now we can just go back to the battle, and Fizzle's brought Lele, T-Tar, Suicune, Excadrill, Blacephalon, and Hawlucha. So I'm pretty surprised to see the Coon over the Rotom, to be honest. Just because, like I was saying, I feel like my team pressures Coon a lot with the dual electrics and with the Sceptile. But it's not that I disagree with it. I understand why he brings it. It's his best way of dealing with Nape, for sure. It's also a pretty comfortable switch into something like Gliscor, which is, of course, going to be my way to deal with his Sand Core. So I respect it. Blacephalon, definitely great offensively versus my team. Like, now they just brought Coon, I definitely understand the Blacephalon bring. If he didn't bring Coon, I think he kind of needed Max Fizz Def Kofag. So with the Coon, he doesn't need the Kofag. That gives him a slot for Blacephalon. So definitely understand the team. Agree with what he's brought. Lele, like I said, we're gonna have to figure out what sort of set it is. It's gonna kill a lot of my team. I can tell you that right now. It's because I don't have a single Psychic or Fairy Resist on the team. It's not true. I have Raichu as a Psychic Resist, lol. I'm just going to click play here in just a moment. I'm going to lead with Blastoise just because he doesn't have a way to really threaten it turn 1. I could lead with like Koko or Infernape and try and get early momentum, but I don't want to get caught off guard by like a Scarf Lele lead or a Scarf Blacephalon lead. At least versus both of those Mons, Blastoise can just pretty much throw off a Hydro Pump. I don't think I can die in one hit to either of those things. So yeah, let's just click play and hop on into it. So he is going to lead with the T-Tar as I lead with the Blastoise. So it's a very good situation for me because he can't really stay into here. You should just be expecting a water move to come out here. I do throw off the Aura Sphere because it covers him staying in, and it also covers him going into the Coon. So definitely pretty nice to get that damage off right away. It doesn't seem to really have any Spadef investment based on that damage. I'm not even 100% sure that it has max HP based off of that, but anyway, he does Toxic me as I roar. I didn't really have a switch in to that thing, so like it was either he was going to go for a sub or go for a Toxic or something like that, but I wasn't going to allow any of that to happen. Unfortunately, I do have to let my Blastoise get Toxic here. And he goes into, or it brings in his Hawlucha, which is actually amazing for me. And this is where the DC happened. So like I said, it's very early on into the match, but we tried to recreate getting the Hawlucha in with the roar, but it just didn't happen. And I guess I could have just said, all right, whatever gets phased in, we'll proceed from there. But like having this Hawlucha in here is very good for me actually, because he's not going to want to stay in and risk a big water type move or big ice type move. So he should switch out and probably back into his Coon. And so it gives me a good opportunity to double into my Koko. So I was kind of a stickler. I didn't want to just have anything else come in. I wanted to make sure Hawlucha came in again. So we switched to Showdown so we could, do it more quickly, make sure that Hawlucha gets in. And so this is going to give me the double into Koko, like I was saying, as he switches out into his Coon. So it's really going to work out for us there, because he's not going to want to take a big electric type hit. I'm just going to go for the U-turn, and that's going to work out for us. So, sorry, it's like a little awkward, the timing of the turns and everything, but he goes right into an Drill, which I definitely do as his best play. And I go right into my Gliscor, which is my dedicated response to this thing. So, he's not going to stay in. I'm just going to go right for Rocks. I guess I could have gone for Toxic to try and Toxic the Coon, because Coon is annoying, but I'm much happier having the Rocks up, because it chips the entire team down, not just the Coon. Like, he doesn't have anything besides Drill that, like, resists rocks, so that's pretty nice. As I just go into my Blastoise as he throws off another Toxic. And I'm just going to Roar, because if he wants to go for the Protect like he does here, I can at least get that out immediately. And he does bring in the Blacephalon now, so this is sort of my best Blacephalon check as well, so I'm just going to go for the Hydro Pump as he goes for the Shadow Ball, and good lord, that does a lot of damage. So that is definitely a Specs Blacephalon. I unfortunately missed the Pump, which means that Blastoise is going to go down to the Toxic damage and not be able to fight another day. It's a little annoying, but I can go right on into my Koko and throw off the Wild Charge and take it out. It's just a little bit tricky. Like, I'd rather like, I don't know, he gets the momentum here. It's kind of an annoying thing. At least if we had a double down there, no Pokemon would get the momentum necessarily. So he goes into his Lele, and yeah, I'm definitely not sacking my Koko because Electric Terrain is too important. And I don't want to sack my Gliscor, I don't want to sack my Infernape because Mach Punch is still pretty useful. Sceptile can win in a late game. Raichu, it could potentially win, but it's looking less of a good win con than Sceptile, so I decided to sack the Raichu. Go back into my Tapu Koko and set up the E-Terrain. And so with the E-Terrain up, it depends on what sort of Lele he is. If he is timid, he can't actually kill my Koko. So that's pretty nice. If he's modest, there might be a chance that he does, because I have like 79%. I don't remember what the exact roll is off the top of my head. Also, I guess based on the way that I'm playing this Koko, there's a small chance that I'm Scarf. So maybe he decides not to risk it for that reason. But anyway, he goes into his T-Tar, which I think is a pretty decent mid-ground play, just because like Wild Charge isn't necessarily going to do that much to T-Tar, especially like if he thinks I am Scarf. But I'm just going to U-turn then into my Infernape and definitely threaten this thing out with the fighting type move. Of course, he doesn't know I don't have close combat and I only have Mach Punch, but he's not going to risk that. So we're just going to take this as an opportunity to U-turn as he goes into his Coon once again. It's very, very tempting here to go into Sceptile, but I don't think I quite have the win set up. So Drill is like at 87% HP. I can't one-shot a Drill from that range with my Sceptile. Lele especially, like, I can't one-shot it without any boosts. So I want to try and get at least a Rock Switch in on it, if not some more damage. Coon, I should be able to kill with Leaf Storm. Hawlucha, I need a boost in order to deal with that. T-Tar is in range of Leaf Storm, but I can't like kill T-Tar with Leaf Storm and Coon with Leaf Storm because of the special attack drop. So yeah, basically I don't think I'm quite there yet. I can't go into Sceptile, so my only play is to go into the Koko. And then I'm going to throw off the Wild Charge. So like I predicted his Drill Switch in the last time, and I went for U-turn. I think got some pretty good momentum there. So I think there's a chance that maybe he'll try and predict me going for U-turn here with his Coon, because like he kind of needs to, like, it's not that either one of us has more momentum than the other, but like he might make a play to try and get the momentum. And so I'm gonna go for the Wild Charge here, like see if he's gonna make that play or not. He goes for the Protect, which is smart, like especially again if he's thinking that I'm Scarf. Then he wants to see what I'm gonna lock myself into. And he's now thinking that I'm going to lock myself into Wild Charge. In the battle, I didn't think so much about like me portraying the Choice Scarf on Koko. So like it was a little bit of a 50-50 in my mind. Like, so like I've shown the Wild Charge. Like he might expect me to expect the Drill Switch in and then just stay with the Coon. And then it would be great for me to try and get that damage off. And then the consequence for me getting the prediction wrong is him going into his Drill, but I have a pretty easy switch into my Gliscor on Drill pretty much every time. So I think that there's less drawback to just clicking Wild Charge again. Again, I wasn't quite taking into account the fact that he's thinking that I'm choice locked in some way. So I'm just going to click Wild Charge once again, as he's going to make a pretty safe play and just go on into his Drill. Again, it wasn't the right play, I guess you could say, but I think I have a pretty reasonable switch into my Gliscor no matter what he wants to do. But he makes a smart double and goes on into his Lele. And so this is spooky because he basically collects a kill here once again. If he's he's shown to be Scarf because he outsped my Raichu earlier. And the amount of damage that he was doing to Raichu also showed that he's Scarf. If he's timid, he can never kill me here. If he's modest, he has like about a 31% chance to kill me. I don't have a switch in anyway, so I feel like my only play here is to either hope he's timid or hope for the roll and click EQ, because if I could do that, then I think pretty much everything else is in range to Sceptile at this point, especially if I can get up a Workup. Like Workup guarantees that I can kill T-Tar with EQ, which allows me to save the Leaf Storm for the Coon. If I can get up the Workup, I kill the Drill, which is 84% here. Hawlucha should die to a +1 Acro. So yeah, basically what I'm thinking here is get off the damage with Gliscor, then let it go down to the second Psychic, go back into Coco to reset the terrain, sack off Coco, and then go into Sceptile and see what happens. That's going to be the track on forward from here. As he does go for the Psychic, I live on 2, so that means that he is modest and he had a chance to kill. But luckily that did not happen because this damage on the Lele is really critical. He is of course going to kill me with the second Psychic. That's his second kill of the match. I'm then going to go into my Coco, reset the terrain, but it is of course going to go down to the Psychic. I guess I could have doubled into Infernape if I felt like Infernape was less valuable than Coco. But at this point, like, keeping the terrain is not as important. Because like my Sceptile's about to burst its seed. That's not meant to be an innuendo. But like without that, or without Raichu needing the electric terrain, I don't really quote unquote need Coco anymore. So hopefully that makes sense. I don't think like Banded Flare Blitz is enough to kill his team or whatever. But basically, I'm just banking on Sceptile being able to finish out the game here. So to go into Sceptile, get the electric seed boost. And I'm going to be able to kill this thing with Earthquake. And then he's going to go on into Drilled now. So if he is Adamant Life Orb Iron Head, he actually cannot kill because of my defense boost, which is pretty solid. So my play 100% is to go for the workup, live the Iron Head, and then I should be in position to sweep at that point. We're going to click the workup. He's going to bust out, as you guys will see in just 1 second, the X-Scissor. And so this actually scared me a lot because Life Orb X-Scissor definitely still kills with the defense boost if he's Life Orb. But he's not going to show the Life Orb, as I burp a little bit. He's not going to show the Life Orb, which means that we are going to be able to live just with 23% HP. And from here, yeah, he doesn't have a response. This Excadrill, it takes 85% min if it's max HP. It actually turns out this is a max HP Assault Vest Excadrill, which makes a lot of sense. Like, since he didn't bring the Rotom as a check to the electrics, Excadrill is kind of his only other way to deal with the electrics. So an Assault Vest set is the best way to assure that. So like I respect that he didn't bring the Life Orb. I think Life Orb with would have been a little bit better because it allows him to break through Gliscor a little bit. Without it, he can't break through Gliscor. And then but like without the Rotom, he didn't have another choice. So basically, I just think he should have brought Rotom, and it would have put him in a slightly better position. But yeah, I'm gonna throw off the EQ, take out this Excadrill, which is looking pretty nice. If I'm like EQ with Leaf Storm or Leaf Blade, this Hawlucha might still survive, but he doesn't know that I have Acrobatics, which is going to easily take out the Hawlucha. Actually, I'll have to double check to see what sort of damage roll that was, but obviously at that point I didn't have any other play, right? I have to click that move and hope that it kills. So if it was a roll, I'm sorry, but there's obviously my only play at that point. He's going to go into T-Tar, which is going to not survive this Earthquake. Like max HP does not survive, and we're going to be able to take that out, and that leaves us versus the Coon, and it does not survive a Leaf Storm. If somehow he dodges, I do have the Choice Banded Thunder Punch to take this thing out afterwards. It might have actually been a safer play just to go for the EQ to put it in guaranteed range. But like with the Sandstorm up, I don't think that he's going to be able to live that T-Punch. I don't know exactly what the rolls were. So again, maybe that was the slightly safer play. But we do connect, and Sceptile ends up getting a clean sweep to wrap up this game. 2-0 in our favor. 5 kills for Sceptile. Tomahawk coming in clutch. This was a hard game, guys. Like I was down 5-2 because that Lele just annihilated me. But it pretty much played out exactly how I thought it would. Like a very offensive matchup. Not really pivoting very much. Just trying to get chip on things. Like getting up those rocks in the early game were really, really crucial because it wore down the T-Tar, wore down the Lele, wore down the Coon. Roaring around things with Blastoise is really nice. And yeah, once I got to the point where Sceptile could come in, it put me in a pretty much game-winning position. Maybe he could have gone into the Hawlucha and clicked HJK instead of going into the Drill, which didn't have a way to one-shot me with X-Scissor. So like it's hard to say like what could have happened in that situation. I probably could have set up as well on like T-Tar or Coon if he went into those. I guess T-Tar a little bit less so. T-Tar is really freaking strong. But it's really strong too, and it had a super effective move to hit me. So unless like the T-Tar had Fire Punch or something, I might have been able to set up. But I digress. Big shout outs to Fizzle for stepping up and participating in the MPL this season. You know, it's kind of undesirable circumstances taking over a team that's not yours. His team is busted though, so I guess he can't complain that much. But still, it's always something, you know, it's always a tough situation, and you might not necessarily be comfortable with the team that you've drafted. So we're going to advance to 2-1 with a +1 differential, which is much better than being 1-2. With a -6 differential, like if we had lost 5-0 in this game, like it was potentially looking like we would, it could have really been a bad start to our season. But we are 2-1 now, and we're going up against Johnny GB in week number 4. We were going to play him in BBL, but it's a funny story. Like we were getting ready to battle, and for BBL week 9, and we both prep our teams and whatever, get into team preview, and he brings his MPL team. He thought that that's what we were battling for, and so he's like, oh, okay, well, I don't have time to re-prep, and like I already am eliminated from playoffs, so I'm just gonna forfeit. So we didn't get to play Johnny for BBL, but we do get to play him for MPL. So hopefully he can put his best foot forward, and we can have a fun match that you guys can watch. If you are looking forward to that, make sure you drop a like down below and you drop a sub so that you can stay up to date on MPL action, as well as all my other latest and greatest Pokemon and gaming content. So until the next time, thank you very much, and I'll see you guys later.